I think my role in this world is to make sure that everybody knows that it's okay to feel like different, and it's okay to feel like confused or like that the world's falling apart, and it's okay to feel things in general.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy and or content are you with your life right now?
I feel like today I'm at like a solid 7, and I feel like what I could do to make that a 10, make it better, would honestly to be more productive with my day-to-day life and further my transition in certain ways.
What's one thing that would help your life immensely right now and maybe make you, higher than a 7?
Besides money and like materialistic items, I feel like my relationship with my family, that being stronger, could help me immensely in a bunch of different ways.
What is your relationship like with your family?
Okay, so all started out when the first time I wore makeup and even expressed being different or anything like that. I was forced to take it off, or forced to not leave the house in it, or I was an embarrassment almost. So I feel like that in a way has forced me to have thicker skin. The first time I wore makeup was my senior year of high school, and it was before a basketball game, and my friends were let's put foundation and powder on you and see what you look like, and I was no, let's do everything, let's snatch me up, you guys know the drill. And so then afterwards there was this senior party thing, and I went back home to grab some of my things. My dad was what's on your face, what are you doing, what is that, rub it off, this, and so
the first time you just got immediately rejected by your dad?
And so not being accepted right away, I feel was just a huge letdown for me in a bunch of ways. And I feel there were so many situations where my parents fully didn't accept me. It started with tube tops and short shorts, and then it led to obviously dresses and wigs and all of that, just being crazy and being myself. And so I feel at first when I was wearing a tube top or wearing makeup and just doing my thing, and them being what are you doing, or you look skanky, or I feel it forced me to love myself in a way, because I remembered that as long as I was happy with what I was doing, I honestly didn't need anybody else's approval.
Did you like yourself before?
I feel yes and no in so many ways. I was on the path to kind of fully becoming who I was, just slowly but surely. But at the same time, it was every day I was constantly thinking about what I wanted to do differently to be happier and be more myself, and stop trying to hide what was inside.
The people who you're close with in your life now, do they really know who you are?
Yes. I feel the people closest to me now honestly really know who I am, just because I'm at that state in my life, in my transition, where I honestly feel I don't need to hide anything from anybody, and so the people that love me for me, and that's all I need, honestly. The reason that I feel the constant need to give back to other people or give them that reassurance that they're beautiful or whatnot, I feel has always been a thing, because whether it was my family or the people around me not accepting me, I just feel that constant need, whether it's somebody DMing me on Instagram, or somebody in the Starbucks drive-thru, just to give somebody that compliment, or be there for them for literally 2 seconds, it can make them feel so much less alone, and that it's gonna be okay.
What's the most your feelings have ever been hurt in your life?
I feel the moment where I was the most upset or hurt was when I first came out as transgender to my parents, and I was so impatient for everything, and I wanted to go into therapy and get on hormones and do this and do everything all in such a short time span, which for everybody who has been transitioning or hasn't, that's just part of it. You have to be patient with everything. And to me, my parents thinking it was a joke, or thinking that that I didn't actually feel that way, and that's not actually who I wanted to be, or that I didn't want to go through with my transition, was so hurtful, because I felt a certain way for so long and cared so much, and so to express my feelings to them and then have it almost be a joke, or be questioned about how I felt, was a huge letdown. And then another situation where I was definitely taken back and hurt was the first month I moved to LA, so about a year ago, and I had just posted my new name and everything on Instagram, and I was just doing my thing, honestly thriving. And I had my wig, I was just feeling the best ever I'd ever felt in my entire life, and I was at the club with some of my friends, and was literally came up by this random guy who I assumed was a promoter, security guard, or whatever. And I was literally dancing with this guy who I assumed just didn't know or something. And I was asked to leave because I wasn't a female. And so I feel going through so much and like so many situations and like all this resentment from my parents and people around me and just like all this stress to only be like at the best point in my life and then to be like dragged down from that and like have a fat punch in the face was like why have I been trying so hard just for like this?
What did that feel like? Like that moment, did you leave?
So I left the club crying, and a couple of my friends stayed, a couple of my friends went with me, which was like, okay, obviously I know who my real friends are now, but it was just so crazy to me that like all these people don't realize that it's just like a thing that happens daily, if not like obviously like way worse, and that it just shouldn't be like a casual thing. It's like I was just sitting there minding my own business, having a drink, doing my thing, and then literally got asked to leave. So my relationship with my parents now is at like a weird point because now that I've been transitioning for a year, I feel like they should be accustomed to my lifestyle and my wishes and pronouns and everything like that. Just obviously as a parent, you know, you should do whatever it takes to make your child happy, whether it's one word or like one sentence, like it just shouldn't matter. And so my mom is still in the mindset of that she like lost a child or like her child died or like whatever. And I think a lot of transgender people probably struggle with that, if obviously not worse, like their parents shunning them or kicking them out or like never talking to them again, which is so insane to me. Literally gives me a migraine to think about that. My dad is so nice and so accepting of everything, and then my mom is just still in this weird little stage where like saying my full like Lilah name is like weird to her.
Have you gone to therapy?
So I went to my first therapy when I was junior year in high school, and that was when I first started kind of acting or like doing different things and like stuff that my parents were like, okay, like obviously something's different. And when they like weren't fully accepting or didn't let me wear certain things, I would be like, oh my god, if you don't let me do this, like okay, then I'm like moving out or like stuff like that. And I would just like throw that stuff out there. And so they literally made me go to therapy, but that lasted like 2 seconds because I was just like over it. And then when I came out as transgender, like a year and a half ago, obviously for like every person who's trans, you have to go to therapy. But I just felt like it was needed as like a person too. Like I just wanted somebody who like was gonna be understanding of my situation and me, because I think that's so important. Is not like all your friends are gonna be there, not all your family's gonna be there. So to have that one person where you can like truly say like every thought in your head, it was like the best thing ever. And so I think definitely therapy helps a lot.
Did you ever have suicidal thoughts during that time?
Yeah.
Or ever?
I feel like a couple years ago, up until like when I fully like kind of started transitioning, suicidal thoughts were definitely in my brain a lot, because I was so under the impression that like, oh, like if I transition, like I'll never get married, or like, oh, if I transition, like what if my parents literally don't love me? Like this is gonna change. Like, okay, how am I gonna get a job? Like what am I doing with my life? My mind and like anxiety and depression were just jumping to like all these thoughts, and like I wouldn't go to class because like I was just so like in a deep like rut of like not thinking it was like ever gonna like be okay. And I feel like now I'm at a point where like if I even remotely like get sad or like somebody upsets me or like something upsets me, it's like I feel like my brain is just so trained to like literally make it go like in my like brain, process it for 2 seconds, and then like get over it, because like I've come too far to like honestly let anything like bring me down or like upset me.
Who have you not been there for recently?
Obviously moving to LA, so much changes, and being from such a small town in Iowa and being close to so many people, things just get crazy, your days get busy, and you like don't always have the time to like check up on people that you should. And so yeah, my best friend of like literally 4 or 5 years at this point, like daily, like we talk every day and everything, has been going through it. And I feel like sometimes I get so caught up in like things that literally aren't important, and I just need to take that step back and remember like, oh, this person was there for me when this, and like, oh, like just because I'm 3,000 miles away, like shouldn't change the fact that like you need to make sure like the people you love and care about like are doing okay.
What do you think your role in this world is? Do you think you have a role?
I think my role in this world is to make sure that everybody knows that it's okay to feel like different, and it's okay to feel like confused or like that the world's falling apart, and it's okay to feel things in general. But in the end, just like know that as long as you yourself are happy with yourself and are progressing the life that like you want to have, then like it's gonna be okay, because as long as like you're putting positive energy and love out into the world, it's like just gonna come back into your life. I think sometimes I get so caught up in like the internet or like social media or like looking a certain way or doing something a certain way and comparing myself to whether it's like real born women or like other trans women, and it can make me feel like some type of way. And so I feel like sometimes it's so important to just like detox or decompress and just like do something for you, like without wanting anybody else's approval, and turning your phone off and just like living like right now and realize like how far you've come and being like, oh my God, remember when I was feeling this way and like didn't think I was like ever gonna like do this for myself, and then like remembering that I have done that for myself. It's
a rule that after all of our interviews, we ask that you check in on somebody and kind of go through some of these questions too to make sure that they're okay.
Okay.
So after this, when you check in on somebody, who's that person?
My roommate and best friend. I think it's important that even living with somebody, just taking that like literally 5 minutes of your day and asking them specific questions and making them tell you how they're feeling and what's been going on in their lives and their brains, because you never know, even if they are acting the same or different, you never know, just like that one question could like make them like literally change their day, change their life, like help everything. I'm Lilah Gibney, and thanks for making sure I'm okay.